So here's my fun story. Let's dive into this. So I was in Egypt, right? And I was, at this point, I spent a couple days in Cairo, and then I went down to Luxor, and I was gonna do a Nile cruise, right? And the Nile cruise is dope because it takes you all the way down the Nile. You get to stop off at different spots, see different temples and tombs and explore. I'm a big history buff and nerd, so that was amazing for me, right? Well, the first day that we were on this cruise, we were going down, and I was on the rooftop deck, just chilling, getting tan, and I hear this thing like after a while of like, "Senora, senora." I'm like, oh, what is this? Super weird, right? I just thought someone was on the boat saying that, right? Well, I put in headphones, in a while, I took them off, and I heard the same thing again, "Senora, senora, senora." And I was like, what is this going on? I'm like looking around, I don't see anyone there. And like literally after like 5 or 6 minutes, I'm like, I don't even know if this is on the boat. We're moving in the water here, right? So like, I walk over to the edge. If any of you has anyone been to Egypt before? Okay, so do you guys know, have you been on a cruise? Do you know what I'm talking about? Okay, this is wild, right? This is the wildest thing I've ever seen. So I like walk over to the edge of this thing and I peer off, and there's this tiny little boat with like 2 guys racing alongside of this cruise liner. Like this tiny little rinky-dink boat. And they're like yelling up, just trying to get someone's attention. They're like, "Senora, senora." And as soon as someone like peeked their head over, I was like watching this. There's like old couple here, like peeked over, and he's like throws like 50 feet in the air. He throws these like scarves onto the boat, right? He's trying to get them to buy it. They are racing this tiny little boat, and they must have been following this thing for at least 30 minutes. And he chucks it onto the boat, and he's like wanting her to buy it, right? And then naturally, this starts to bring other people, and they come over to the side of this boat. And like he keeps saying, "Senora, senora." And as soon as someone else peeks their head over, he chucks another scarf. It's the wildest thing I ever saw. And he had to hope and pray that they were actually gonna pay him. Like wild, right? Nuts. They followed this boat. I shit you not. They followed this boat for like 2.5 hours. And then they hitched their tiny boats to the cruise liner overnight. The wildest thing. You guys ready for this connection? It's a tough one. Connection is most of you are competing this very same way. You are getting business and generating business off of pure fucking hustle. And no one's really approaching you. You are literally trying to chase down customers and chuck value at them, hoping and praying they actually pay you money. Because you're not offering anything unique. You go anywhere in Egypt and you will pass 100 people trying to sell you a scarf on the side of the road. It's wild. And that's exactly what's happening here. Unless you build a mechanism, you are going to be the business owner saying, "Senora, senora, senora," hoping and praying someone actually pays attention to you. And then not only that, you're gonna toss a shit ton of free value to them and hope and pray they actually pay you. How's that? Pretty good, right? That's pretty good. But this is the truth. Pretty good. Clip me. But that's the importance of a mechanism. Because when you have a mechanism, you provide something no one else can offer. They can't get it anywhere else, and you are the only source to provide it. And so if they want that value, they will A, come to you, and B, they will pay you the money before you actually have to toss everything to them and just hope and pray that your bills get paid. Make sense? Who has seen something like this before? These stages of sophistication. Amazing. If you haven't, watch your content because it's inside of your program. But real quick, I'm gonna go through it. Stages of sophistication, all it basically determines is what has your market heard? What are they hearing now? How much competition is currently saturating the market, right? Stage 1, naturally it's brand new. No one's ever heard it before, so it's very easy to advertise. All you have to say is, "I have this thing." And then the more you go up, the more other competitors start to come into the marketplace. Therefore, your market is hearing more promises, more claims, more things from your competitors. So your marketing has to become what? More sophisticated, hence the rating or stages of sophistication. Stage 4 and stage 5 is ultimately where a lot of you will sit. Most of you are probably in the stage 5 or stage 4. And so this means if you are currently inside of these stages, meaning your market has other options like personal trainers or fitness programs or high ticket coaching that they could go to, then you have to become more sophisticated. What separates you from other people, right? And frankly, a lot of your competitors are in this room. So what are you saying that's different than the person on the other side of the table? Right? How do you actually generate a different result or a better result, right? So, moats, back to moats. I'm a visual person, so just think of this as the visual explanation of what a mechanism actually is, right? If we think of the castle as the market share that you currently own, right? And all of your customers, you want all those customers, that's the market share that we really want. Well, your competitors are outside of it, right? And the moat is the thing that separates your competitors from being able to take over your market share, to be able to take your customers from you, right? And so a lot of you in this room either have no moat, or your moat is like a little puddle. It's super easy just to get over it, right? And so what we want to do is we want to make a super big moat where it's very, very difficult for your competitors to try to compete with you or to take your customers, because at the end of the day, what you offer creates such a wide gap that your competitors have to solve it. The moat is the secret sauce. Okay, so a mechanism, just for the definition, it is a proprietary person, method, or technology that actually allows you to fulfill on the claims or the promises that you're projecting. Okay? Click. Cool, there are 3 forms of mechanisms. If you're taking notes, this is the part where you can start writing stuff down, or again, you're just gonna get the slides. So, first, the person. This is someone who is unique in skill or experience, or influence, and therefore, this is the completion of your claim. My guess is most of you, if you have a mechanism in your business, it is probably a fancy name for a workout plan or a diet, and then it's you. You're the mechanism in your business. You are the unique special thing. You maybe have built a personal brand, or like that's how you get a lot of your clients. This is like Instagram posts or TikTok or whatever. You are the special unique thing in your business. This is technically a mechanism, but it is the weakest form of mechanism, okay? But it is technically one. There are 3 types of different person mechanisms. There's either the creator, so you are the person who created this unique special thing, and that's why it's important or special. You're an innovator, so you've taken a method and you've tweaked it, and so like you're the face and the person, the host, the talking head of the brand or the mechanism. Or you're an influencer, right? You have a lot of attention, followers, you figured out how to monetize it, right? So that's the first one. The second one is a method. This is a proprietary process positioned unique to you that allows for fulfillment of a claim. This is the second layer and a little bit more advanced and a little bit bigger of a moat. This is when you have something special or unique in the way you deliver your services or the way that you're fulfilling on them, right? So this could be an order of events that you're projecting. This could be how you want your clients to do it or follow it, or the diet plans or the step-by-step process that you're doing. This is a very unique thing to you. So this could be the way you're fulfilling, right? It's a sequence, unique sequence of events that allows for a better result. It's a combination, it's a unique combination of ingredients or things that you're doing, right? So if you're mixing different diet plans or you're mixing different workout techniques to ultimately come up with a new process, this could be a way you do it. Then the final thing is a technology. This is the most advanced form of mechanism and the most valuable, okay? If you're trying to build a business, ultimately, eventually, you want to try to get to a unique technology. And technology doesn't just mean circuits and computers and things like that. This could also just be using scientific knowledge for practical purposes, right? A couple different types of technology mechanisms. First, assistive. So this is a technology that helps assist a user get better results. Right? Think like a hearing aid. It isn't hearing for them, it just assists them in hearing better. Next type is adaptive. So this is a technology that learns and gets better over time. Hint, hint, if you're not using AI yet in servicing your clients, you're behind. Or there's independent, the most valuable form. Independent, technology that runs and operates successfully on its own. So these are the 3 different forms of mechanisms that you would want to look to go, how could I build at least one of these? What is our mechanism? But ultimately, if I was you, I'd be going, how do we get our business to a spot to where we can get down to technology? Something that is very valuable. How many of you want to sell your business someday? Cool. Some of you. Hopefully you are at least building the business in a way that it could sell. Because unfortunately, you will not be young and beautiful forever. And so at some point, if your business is designed around looking good, it's going to run out. And so how can we build the business in a way to where it is inherently valuable, to where even if I'm not involved, someone would want to buy it? Ultimately, that's going to come down to either method or technology. Technology is just worth a heck of a lot more cash. Cool. So I'm going to show you now how to get started on building a mechanism. First, the purpose. Purpose of the mechanism is to call out and demonstrate the thing that makes your product or service better than the other options on the market. Here are 2 tips that I have for you if you are going to get started in building a mechanism. First, create as many as possible. I think far too many times we think that our first or second iteration is going to be the winner. But if you're going to do this, I would recommend you create as many as possible, give yourself some time, and then come back. Or give it to people you trust, people in this room. Figure out what they think. How does it feel when they hear it? If you're going to give it to people in this room, I also always recommend to give it to someone who is not in the industry, because they're gonna have a completely different perspective on what you're trying to build, right? And one of the things in copywriting world that we would say is like when we know it's good copy is that you get this like feeling of vibrate. Like I vibrate when I hear it. Like you just go like, oh, that's good, right? And that's what you're looking for, okay? But first, create as many as possible. It must be true. We've gotta respect the FTC, and it must be believable. Right? So one thing is like, you can make something sound too good to be true or too unbelievable, and then it has the opposite effect on the market. They just call bullshit. Especially in today's world, online, there's so many competitors, so many options out there. If you make something that sounds too crazy, then they call bullshit and they'll just move on. Especially in social media world where you have like 3 seconds to get their attention and hold it, right? Cool. Next, it must fascinate your reader. Fascinate your reader. Sometimes you'll need to pull benefits back down to biology. What do I mean by biology? Well, this is perfect because you guys are in the fitness industry. But what do people ultimately want at the end of the day? Survival and sex. So if you can pull something back down to biology and use those areas to fascinate the reader, then it's great. You fascinate someone either by new information. So this is a mechanism that you're creating is providing a new amount of information they might not have known in the past. Spark curiosity. Or future-paced solution, right? How can you get them daydreaming about a future? Eugene Schwartz, he says, make it easier, quicker, and surer. Allow it to solve more of the problems than your competitors, overcome old limitations, and promise extra benefits. So when I'm creating a moat or I'm thinking about, okay, what is my process? What is my method? Or what is the technology? All I'm really trying to do is how can my marketing in the prospect's mind make them go, it's either quicker, easier, or sure. That's all I have to do. If I can do all 3, amazing. But if I can present a mechanism, a thing that I'm doing that allows it to be easier, quicker, or surer for them to achieve their goals, that's ultimately what I'm trying to achieve, okay? So, mechanization, this is the process of creating or transitioning mechanisms into your advertising. So, how do we do this? First, you've got to name the mechanism, right? When prospects are already familiar with a process or method, then simply naming it will suffice. But this is rare. What does this mean? Your mechanism doesn't always have to be this innovative, revolutionary thing that no one's ever heard of. It can just be a tweak with a special name on it, right? This is kind of what I mentioned earlier. Some of you might just be calling it, the Fit Fab Fun diet plan for summer. Not really a mechanism, it's just a name, right? But what you're looking for is like this process that you do. How can I just name the mechanism? Example, a couple years back, I needed a way to sell a course, right? I was training media buyers how to run Facebook ads, right? And at the time, this was the crypto boom. This was like, 2020 area. So at that time, maybe 2021, somewhere around there. Anyway, I knew it was a crypto boom and I was going with a Facebook ad course, but I can't just put online the Facebook ad course or the 7-figure Facebook ad course. No, it sounds terrible. So what I actually ended up doing, because I had actually a specific process, which was a very methodical way of launching and scaling different ad campaigns, everything was separated. But anyway, I ultimately came up with the name, the decentralized account structure. Now all of a sudden, I've mechanized it. It's brand new. You can't just Google decentralized ad account structure and see my competitors. You'll see me, right? But if I say, booty boot camp, I'm gonna probably get 2 million hits on Google, right? And so how can I make this sound unique to me, even if it's similar to what other people are doing? Plenty of people offer Facebook ad courses, but no one's offering a decentralized account structure, right? So I went with that. That's naming a mechanism. Next, describe the mechanism. This is another way you mechanize. Describe it. Build a strong, quick promise and then follow up with the reason why you can deliver that promise. Describe how it all works in detail. So if you feel like your plan or what you have your clients do is unique from someone else, describe it. Build a strong, quick promise and then follow up with why it does it, right? This thing helps you lose fat, better weight than going on the keto diet. Why does it do that, right? What ingredients does it activate? What hormones does it help balance or whatever, right? How does this one thing ignore these other problems? And that's why it's still not gonna be great for you, right? Yeah, supplement industry is a great one to study, especially earlier ones. You think back to like the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s when it really took off that like it's an actual business, which is wild, right? Like supplements was not a business 80 years ago. It's just recent. But now it's like billions and billions of dollars. Why? Because they've mastered this concept of mechanizing, right? It's not your fault you're fat. Your gut health is out of order, and that's why you're going to the gym, you're eating right, but you're still not losing weight. And so take this one pill and it fixes everything. Like, they're brilliant at mechanizing, right? So look at those areas. Next, feature the mechanism. For high sophistication markets, AKA you guys, the mechanism is so important to the success of your product that you must bring it to the main focus. Meaning, the main focus, if you just focus on losing weight, it's not as powerful to people because they hear that message over and over again, right? But if you can position, you create a good mechanism and you position that on the front end, that's what people really care about now, right? So the more you can feature it in a sophistication market like you guys, the better. Cool. This is the what, how, why. This is ultimately what you're trying to get people to do, but the mechanism is the how, right? Which is actually, I saw a very similar graphic inside of your training. I don't know if like you got my memo or I'm confused, but it's the how, right? And the mechanism is so important for the stage of sophistication your guys' markets are at. If you're not spending a ton of time on this area, it'll be really rough. Why is this? Because if it's just a diet plan, just a workout plan, I'm not disrespecting you guys. I know you guys probably do more than this, but it's like, even for me in my weight loss journey, right? What was I using for my workout plans and diet plans? ChatGPT. Height, weight, age. This is my current like workout thing that I do. These are the weights I have access to. In seconds, boom, 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 boom. I want to work out for 45 minutes. Boom, 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 boom. Stretching routine, done. Diet plan, done. Macros loaded, done. And I bet if I spend a day, I could figure out how to get my Apple Watch information plugged into the AI, and I bet it could track it, right? This is the future that you guys are going to go against. And so if you don't spend time on figuring out how this is so special and how this sets you apart, you will get defeated. It's going to happen, right? Unless you're in person, that's a whole different thing because like that's a whole different type of customer. But if you're just online, you got to tell me how you're going to beat an AI that can track my data daily, track my HRVs, track my sleep scores, track the food I'm eating, build out workout plans, track my muscle mass, and it does it anytime I want. How are you going to beat that? And that's what you got to figure out. Make sense? It's important. Cool. I don't do this to scare you. Just the importance of what I see in the future.
Already scared.
Yeah, okay, cool. Invited back, right? Cool. You guys are ready for a little bit more? I got a little bit more for you. Yeah. Who likes psychology? Cool. Let's talk about some psychology. Dark art advertising. Dark art advertising. I love this because there are psychological triggers that as humans we naturally have. Whether it's ingrained from primal instincts or developed from societal norms, we operate very predictably. I always tell people like, we're all very unique, right? We're very unique people. But the way we react or the way we make decisions is not. That is very, very predictable. And so there are several psychological principles you can use inside of your marketing to get better results. My only thing here is please use it ethically. That's it. Because this information, like my goal is like not to just tell you this woo-woo world. It's more like I want to tell you how it actually works because this is why we do so well in our agency. So we understand how the world actually works and we can use those principles ethically to get better results. So that's what I want to show you guys. So a couple things. One, there are 9 psychological motivators. If you've ever been in marketing world or in copy, you've probably heard about like the idea of taking someone from their hell to heaven, right? The more you can define their hell, the better, and the better you can define their heaven, the better, and that's all you got to do. There's only one problem with that is because there is a hell and there is a heaven, but the motivation to do so is the bridge. And people forget about people's motivations, right? Just like you ever been on the couch and you're like super hungry, but the fridge is so damn far away, so you just lay there. You had a pain, you had a desire, but you didn't do shit. Why? The motivation was not high enough, right? So when you're writing your marketing, you got to sit back and go, what is my market's actual motivator? Because I can understand pain and I can understand desire, but if I can understand their motivator, I'll get them to actually take action, right? So these are the 9 that exist. Again, you guys will get slides, but I always like to come back here and go, okay, we know what their pain is, we know desire, but what is their actual motivator? And it's different for different markets, right? Some people will do just about anything to maintain autonomy. Some people will do just about anything to maintain their esteem and their ego. And if I understand what their motivator is and I can pull on those things, that's what's going to get them to take action, right? Not just that they desire something. We all want stuff. But what is actually the thing that causes us to take action? That's a motivator, right? So, first one, art of self-serving bias. This is the tendency for people to attribute their success to their own abilities and efforts and attribute their failures to external factors. Typical, right? So this basically is the idea that humans are prone to alter their perception of causality so as to protect or enhance our own self-esteem. This is a massive one in the supplement and health space, right? Examples, winning the championship. If you won, you worked really hard. If you lost, the other team cheated. Taking an end of year exam. If you got an A+, you studied hard and are smart. If you got an F, the teacher hated you. Losing weight, if you lost 10 pounds, you worked hard and you were disciplined. If you lost 0 pounds, oh, I said the ad agency sucks. Damn it, I didn't change that part. Meant to say the personal coach doesn't know what they're doing. The ad agency sucks. Oh, that's tough, man, tough edit. This is one of my favorite quotes. People will do anything for those who encourage their dreams, justify their failures, allay their fears, confirm their suspicions, and help them throw rocks at their enemies. If you can do this in your marketing, you will win every single freaking time. Every single freaking time. If you can tell them why they failed, and tell them it wasn't their fault, tell them what they're assuming is correct, and throw rocks at their enemies, you will win. People love an echo chamber, right? We say we don't like it, but dang it, we love it when people say that we're correct about our assumptions, or they tell us that we're right because it's not our fault. We love that stuff, right? Especially in the emotional side. Logical is different. But if you can do this, you'll win in marketing. Example, 20,679 physicians say Luckies are less irritating, it's toasted, right? This is a cigarette ad. What they're saying is, it's not your fault your throat hurts, you're smoking the wrong brand. Right? This one, how to get what the US government owes you. What is it saying? It's not your fault you're poor, the government is stealing from you. Right? Final one. From Time Magazine, the weight loss trap. Low carb, low fat, paleo, vegan, flexitarian, why your diet isn't working. What is it saying? It's not your fault you're fat, you're following the wrong diet, right? All marketing, all causing the self-serving bias trigger to happen in someone's mind, right? If you can learn this, then you'll be very effective when it comes to your marketing. All right, just like we were talking about before, right? It's not your fault you're fat. It's actually this one bacteria inside of your gut that's overbalanced. And so take this one pill, it corrects that bacteria and it fights it and boom, all your problems are solved with literally a pill, right? This is marketing. Whether it's ethical or not, that's not my point. The point is it's effective, right? And so if you can figure out what people are thinking is their problem, or maybe you actually do know what their problem is, then this is big. Because if you can get them to believe and see that it's actually not their fault, they're just doing this thing wrong, or they need a couple tweaks here, then that's amazing. It'll improve your conversions, guaranteed. So, way to invoke. Positive, highlight legacy or history. This is not so relevant to you, but pre-framing and anchoring behavior you like about your prospect and want to see more of, right? So sometimes in copy, if I'm writing a sales page or a webinar or a VSL, right? It's like, just because you're watching this video, I already know that you're an action taker. Right? Or that you've taken the first step. You're eager. You're someone who actually wants to solve a problem. You're not like all these other people who sit on the sidelines and don't chase what they actually want. If I'm doing that to you in a conversation, I'm pre-framing you. I'm inserting a behavior and reinforcing a behavior I want you to follow in the future. Right? Just like, okay, this is like from like dating, right? So if I'm trying to get someone to do something spontaneous later, whatever that means. Chill. It can be cleaner, okay? It can be clean. But it's like in the beginning, if like I'm trying to get to know them, it's like, oh, you seem to be an adventurous person. Oh, you seem like you like to take risks, right? I could do that in the beginning of a conversation, and I'm seeding that thought. Hold on, guys, it's not that bad. I'm seeding that thought in the future because if they disagree in the future, if they are not spontaneous, they're not adventurous, they're causing dissonance in their brain because their brain already confirmed earlier that they are an action taker. They follow something, right? So like in your marketing, you can do this to seed this thought in their brain. Subconscious psychology. You guys heard this stuff? Is this fun? I love this shit. Okay, cool. All right, next, emphasize to the prospects by taking action, it is them directly influencing their own success, right? So booking a call, if you guys have a VSL funnel, right? The first step in your journey of success, by booking a call, you are already starting your health transformation journey. getting them to think that they're already taking part in the journey. It's not something that they can hop on a call, then buy, and then start their health journey. No, 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 no. By clicking this button below the video, you've already started. Because you're watching this video, you've already started your health transformation journey. You see how powerful that can start to be? They've already started. You're already watching this, right? It's these are really subtle things that you can start to do. Highlighting the old way versus new way, quoting "it's not your fault" in your copy, right? You've brilliantly stumbled on this page. Most are perfectly content watching others figure things out, but not you, like we talked about, right? Cool, next one, conspicuous consumption. How am I doing on time?
You're good.
You're great.
Cool. You said I have 4 hours?
Hey, keep going, it's fun.
So the art of conspicuous consumption. This is the expenditure or consumption of luxuries on lavish scale in an attempt to enhance one's own prestige. Whether you believe it or not, you guys are a higher priced, high ticket item online that is not a necessity to someone's life. Arguably, but you know what I mean, right? They don't need a coach or personal trainer, right? It is a lavish thing to do. So this is a part of the psychology when they're coming into a service like yours. Right? There is a reason that they can do this, and it is not just getting food so they survive. This is something extra, right? So there are things you can pull here. Conspicuous consumption is a term used to describe spending money on displaying of luxury goods and services. Now, the cool part is you are almost an altered version of conspicuous consumption because it is a lavish luxury that people will afford and pay for, but they might not necessarily be doing it for the external praise that they get. Right? This can actually be an internal praise that they get, an ego builder on the internal side. So let's talk about this. Diamonds. Let's talk about diamonds. History. I'm a history buff. Let's go into this. Until the late 19th century, diamonds were found only in a few riverbeds in India and in the jungles of Brazil. Only a few pounds a year were actually mined, right? In 1870, huge diamond mines were discovered near the Orange River in South Africa. Miners needed a way to control the supply and created De Beers diamonds. You guys ever heard of De Beers diamonds before? Cool. You guys know that prior to 1870, people didn't wear diamonds as wedding rings. People didn't wear diamonds in engagement rings. It was not a thing. It was a marketing plan by a really good group of marketers to get people to start wearing diamonds because De Beers diamonds needed a way to control supply and demand. So NWA & Son out of Philadelphia was an advertising agency founded in 1869. And NWA & Son proposed the concept of conspicuous consumption, right? Basically, hey, diamonds, no one really buys them that much. And what happens when supply is low and demand is high? Prices are very expensive, right? But if that same business finds a massive amount of supply, well, then that means the value of those diamonds will go down, right? Because supply is massive, very simple economics, right? So, also because you had multiple different miners mining for diamonds, they all came together to form one massive company, De Beers Diamonds, largest cartel ever formed. And so what they also couldn't have happen was people buy these diamonds, right? Because they've controlled supply, because they all came together and now they're this big cartel. They controlled supply that way. But eventually, if you sell enough diamonds, what happens? Well, the market will become saturated with diamonds because people will sell them and move them around. They won't keep them, right? And so they couldn't just have De Beers Diamonds control supply. They also needed to control demand, meaning I need someone to buy a diamond and then never sell it. What can I do with that? How do I get someone to buy a diamond and then not sell it so it doesn't enter back into the marketplace and saturate the value, right? So conspicuous consumption was created. They said the subtle diamond gift can be made a more widely sought symbol of personal and family success, an expression of socioeconomic achievement. They stated in a report to promote the diamond as one material object what can reflect a very personal way of man's success in life, right? How big's the diamond? What clarity is it? How many carats is it, right? In a very real way, they got the diamond ring to represent a man's success, right? And people got infatuated with it. And then they put it inside diamond rings so people didn't sell it. So they spread the word of diamonds worn by stars, staged by wives and daughters of political leaders, by any woman who can make the grocer's wife and the mechanic's sweetheart say, I wish I had what she has. Meaning, influencer marketing. That was it. They put it on stars, they put it on actresses, they put it on singers, they put it on political leaders' wives, right? They wanted everyone to see it. And this was the craziest part. It gets crazier. In 1939, De Beers diamonds sales amounted to $23 million at wholesale level. By 1979, N.W. Ayer and Son helped De Beers expand sales to $2.1 billion, all starting with the campaign, "A Diamond is Forever." Who knows that slogan? Came from that very first campaign, and it's still their slogan today. And that's where it came from. The reason you guys have diamonds on your fingers, I've seen several around. The reason you guys have those on your fingers is because of an ad agency that understood psychology and how to tap into someone's mind and make it seem like you were supposed to have a diamond ring. Wild, right? Crazy. Here's the thing, they were even more brilliant and sadistic. But like, they knew the strategy wasn't even going after adults. Because if you go after adults already know that we don't do diamonds and wedding rings. That's just not a thing. So all their marketing campaigns went after girls in junior high and below, because they knew in 10, 15 years when they would get married, that's what they would start to look for. Because I couldn't convince, if you're at a marrying age, that you need a diamond in your ring, because you've grown up not needing it. So they did school assemblies, they did posters in schools. That's why they went after those celebrities that the younger generations liked. Wild thinking, but they understood psychology. If I can get all your customers, if you as a business owner, if you can start getting the influencers that your customers look after, and they start using your mechanism, your method, your thing to do, that's how you start developing demand. Because they're not just seeing that method come from you, they're seeing that method come from their other favorite Instagram pages or their other influencers, right? That's why influencer marketing is so effective and powerful. So how do you do this? One, highlighting social impact. The more you can show social impact inside of your marketing, whether it's a cause or something that you do, or maybe you and your clients went on this cool 5K that supported this charity or whatever, like if you can highlight social impact, this is a way to inflate ego when someone does business with you, because they know they're also doing an impact elsewhere. Right? Just like galas, charity galas. I go to them, it helps, it's awesome. I love helping causes, but what do they do at galas? They put on this lavish experience, very expensive dinners to help people in an international country, and why is everyone wearing a black tie? Right? They have to inflate ego. If you want more donations, you have to put people into a state where their ego is higher and their status is automatically higher, right? Next, creating VIP experiences. How many of you have VIP experiences that you could be doing for your business? Right? For your subscribers, your email list, for people who are in your Facebook groups, do you have a VIP experience? This is wild because most of us do this because we just think that like people might not want to pay for more. The thing is though, you always want to have the option for people to pay more. Right? Even me, like I'm not gonna lie guys, I'm a little bougie. And so like if I'm going on a trip, I'm like always looking for like what's the VIP experience? I don't just want the experience that everyone else did. I want like the special one, right? Like I'm always looking for that. And so do you have an experience that people could opt into that is just a higher level, more expensive? You'd be so surprised at how many people do it. Right? And you almost want it so high that you're shocked when people buy it. Legitimately. You want to be like shocked, but like it's awesome. It'll like one of those sales could make up for 5 of your other, right? So having those options is good because I guarantee you some customers, they just want to always be the VIP experience. They always want the next level, right? Next, using aspirational imagery, right? This is where you can take pictures with, you guys are all very healthy, good-looking people. This is why your posts that have your shirts off, you're looking good, you're like doing this little thing in the mirror. That's why those get the most engagement, right? It's aspirational imagery, right? Next, showcasing celebrity endorsements. All right, the more you can showcase celebrity endorsements, or you're showcasing basically alignment, what I tell people is like you're basically borrowing brand from those people. You're borrowing their trust that they have with that influencer. So the more you can do that, the better. You can use things like personalized language, right? You're invited to an exclusive brand names VIP program. Be a part of the first to unveil this premium collection or this premium program or this premium workout. Like you guys could be doing so many cool, unique workout plans that are so easy for you guys to build. And if you're not emailing your list consistently, you should be, but like, man, every single week I'd like have a new workout plan, right? But like, what if you could invite one subsection to get a workout plan before anyone else, right? Like all of those cool little things. Or if you do, like for me, I'm always experimenting with like different food, like protein things of like, okay, if I mix this protein powder with this yogurt and I like add this crushed up protein bar into it, like I put it in the freezer, like it tastes amazing, right? I'm always doing that shit. If you guys were doing that and like you had one subsection of your communities that like, oh man, they get access to these recipes before anyone else, right? Like people just want to be a part of the in crowd. They want to know stuff before other people, whether or not they're interested or not in actually doing it, they just want to be the first to know, right? Things like that. Cool. Next. Ingredients, scarcity, urgency, social pressure, no big deal. All right, autonomy bias. I think this is my last one. Autonomy bias. So this is the tendency to favor self-control, self-autonomy. The idea is humans that we don't want to feel like we're being controlled, right? And we will go out of our way to feel like we're in control. Even if we're not, we want to always feel like we're in control. So this is the autonomy bias that people have, right? So humans have an innate desire to be in charge of themselves or their environment. Marketers can attract customers by offering them control. This is great when it comes to the fitness industry, making someone feel like they're losing weight, but they're still in control of the food they eat, right? I guarantee at least half the room has used marketing angles similarly to that, right? But ultimately, what is this? This is an example of a test that was done, just to give a little proof. So a company called Smile Train wanted to test this theory of autonomy bias. Essentially, they are a nonprofit. Very difficult to get donors in nonprofits. So they were a nonprofit. They essentially get donations through direct mail. And so they wanted to do a test to see if they could inflict autonomy bias and get more donations, right? So they sent out 2 letters, the exact same letter. The only difference in the split test that they did here is on one envelope, they put these words, make one gift now and we'll never ask for another donation again. And on the other envelope, it was blank. Same sales letter on the inside. They just had that one difference. The result is the one who received a once and done letter donated $22,728 on their initial test, while those who received a standard letter donated $13,234. Almost a half of what one sentence did on the other one. Right? Here's the crazier part, and that's not all. Out of those who received the once and done letter, meaning like, hey, donate and we'll never do it again, 39% indicated that they never wanted to be contacted again, but that 39% only received a thank you letter with a receipt in their donation, but only 39% said they never actually wanted to be contacted again. Majority of the people who donated on that letter still wanted to receive more letters. Wild. One sentence change, right? All because they understood that people wanted autonomy. They wanted to feel like they were in control. When you make someone feel like they have a choice, that will increase conversions, right? So, how do you do this in your business? Avoiding Hobson's choice. So Hobson's choice is basically the concept that you have 2 options, a yes or a no. That's a Hobson's choice issue, right? They're just saying, do I want this or do I not want this, right? What you actually want to do is present multiple options. This is also why I think a VIP program is very helpful for you guys, because when you put someone in a situation like that, even subconsciously, their brain isn't just saying, do I want this or do I not? It's which one of these options do I want? Which means they're not immediately thinking, no, I don't want to do business. They're thinking, if I had to choose, what choice would I use? Do I do the VIP? Do I want the standard? Do I want the fast action one? I don't know. So now they're not necessarily thinking about that, and they're comparing your options that you have. Very, very simple tactic, and why I'd recommend it. Just more proof that autonomy bias works, right? We'll pay more money to choose a seat on a plane. We'll pay more to be able to change a hotel reservation. We'll pay more money for a snack pack that has 100 calories in a pack versus one that's just a big bag. Just because it makes us feel like we have more control. We'll pay more money for it, right? We'll pay more for a stream music with no ads. We'll pay more for a beach chair that has 3 options instead of 1 options. There's so many different areas in our life that we just pay more money so that we feel like we have more control, whether we actually use that control or not. So even in your marketing too, when you think about this, you guys probably talk about restrictive diets, right? Like lose 10 pounds and still eat pizza, right? Like that whole thing. It is inserting an idea of autonomy bias. Right? It helps people feel like they're in a little bit more control. But what I would encourage you guys to do is, how do you take that one more step further? Right? How do you make control feel more prevalent inside of your mechanism? You guys catch that tip? How can you make your mechanism give either more aversion to self-serving bias, or more increases of autonomy bias, or more feelings of conspicuous consumption? Your mechanism should play on these psychology tricks, okay? Because I've already done the research for you. I know the motivations for your market. If you pull any of these psychology tips that I pulled for you, because I have tons of dark arts that I train on, I picked these ones specifically for you guys. If you can get your mechanism to play into one of these, you'll have really, really solid success. Seen it over and over again. Click, click. Loss aversion bias. Oh, did I go over this one? Oh man, I have another treat for you. Okay, loss aversion bias. Very simple. The idea that it is more painful for us to lose something than to gain something. Right? So the feeling that you have when you lose $100, like it got taken from you, that pain, that emotional status is much higher than the feeling, the joy you get when I give you $100, right? It just feels like something was taken from you, which attacks our primal instincts, right? We're gatherers. So loss aversion bias is a very simple principle like that. How do you do this? What is it? Clicking, clicking, clicking. There we go. Most marketers are trained to think in terms of benefits at all times, right? What's in it for them? That's what we're told to do. Sometimes it's very hard to convince people because, again, you're a luxury item. How do you convince people that they need this, right? And then we start pulling into, playing with your kids and all this stuff. But there's another lever that you can pull, and it's loss aversion bias, right? So basically, if you can show them enlightened pain or loss, then that becomes very effective. Meaning, we are wired in a way to gather rather than remove or subtract. Understanding that this is a biological underpinning can allow your copy and messaging to appeal to a primal hardwiring. Basically, the key is not focusing on merely the direct benefit or pain someone is experiencing by engaging your product or service, but rather focusing on the pain and loss someone will consciously or unconsciously have by not taking you up on your offer. Okay, let's do an example here. So the idea here, this is an example of an ad that ran for 40 years. Do you make these mistakes in English, right? It ran for 40 years. It was an all-time winner. Nothing could beat it. The only reason it ever stopped running is because the company actually sold. Right? This ad plays on loss aversion bias by drawing attention to someone's unrealized loss, right? It was selling a freaking book on how to read and write and talk, lame, right? Many people would just put a headline that says learn how to speak better, right? But what does this headline do? It actually creates the question in your head of do I actually make these mistakes? I feel like an idiot. It was bringing to their thought a pain or a loss that they weren't consciously aware of, right? Just like the idea if I was, selling Uber Eats, right? All it talks about is getting your food quickly or whatever, right? But if you wanted to do a loss aversion bias commercial, it would be like the Super Bowl, right? It'd be something crazy. It'd be like the Super Bowl. It's a crazy moment in the third quarter or the fourth quarter, right? And your wife all throughout the experience has been yo, you need to go get the food. Go get the food. It's cold. They're gonna throw it away, blah, blah, blah. And all of a sudden she comes in, right? Barges in front, stands in front of the TV, turns it off. It's you're going to get the food right now. The kids are going crazy. They're crying everywhere. I'm stressed out. You need to go right now, right? But if only he had Uber Eats, he wouldn't have missed the important point in the game. That's loss aversion bias. I'm bringing to your attention a loss or a pain that you're not consciously aware of, but I'm predicting it for you, right? What happens in 10 years when you can't even walk your daughter down the aisle? Not a pain they're currently conscious of, but if I can show them that all of a sudden starts to be loss aversion bias. Something was taken from them, right? There are other ways to do it. I'll show you an example. Here, search for unclaimed money. There's more than $40 billion sitting in state governments. Is any of it yours? What is it doing? Is there money that you have that you actually don't know about? Loss aversion bias, right? New limited edition aluminum bottles from Coca-Cola. Even if something as simple as that is loss aversion bias. There's a limited edition. If they decide in a month that they want to go buy it or have it, they can't because it's limited edition. They got to do it now. Loss aversion bias. Insane facts about Bitcoin. $100 in Bitcoin. If you invested $100 in Bitcoin, July 10th, 2010, it would be worth $2 billion now. Insane play on loss aversion bias, right? Because now we're all thinking, shit, I knew that was gonna, I was gonna do it. I just didn't, I was gonna do it, Loss aversion bias, right? Very simple, but a very effective strategy. Ways to do this: replace language such as take advantage of or get in on with don't miss. Right? How can I switch some of these things where it's don't miss? How do I get the language of it's taking from you if you don't take action? Right? Frame messaging in terms of loss rather than gain. Examples: how many ad mistakes do you make? Will you pass your annual physical? Can you answer these 5 critical objections on your next sales call? All of these position problems that you're not consciously aware of, but I'm going to bring up, which raises the perceived value. I don't know if you guys do discount codes or anything like that, but switch it out with, instead of discount codes, expiring credits, right? Simple things like that, simple nuances in language patterns. When I can say, instead of a discount, which is something that you can choose to take part of or not, with a expiring credit, it's something that you have and you'll lose if you don't take action. Stores, you'll see some of them, if they're good at marketing, will do this. You have expiring credits, not here's 10% off your next purchase. It's here's a credit that will expire, right? That's way more potent, because all of a sudden, if you don't use it, it feels like you've lost something, and we don't like doing that. Boom, that's it. You can follow me on Instagram.
Fantastic. That was fun.